Hi guys, today is the 12th of December 2019 at 35 minutes past 11 in the evening over here in the UK. I just wanted to talk very quickly in connection with a video I made yesterday and a couple of videos I've made in reference to December the 13th, Friday the 13th. In the boys' eyes, we know that there's possibly the word uranium. We know there's definitely markets plunge, war coverage. There is another word that begins to follow on after war coverage. We don't talk about it very often, but it looks like N and E followed by another letter which has a straight bar that runs down. There's a few letters that have that characteristic in the beginning. K, for example, I, M. One of them is W. In connection with that, I've just got the whole sequence of markets plunge, war coverage, New York. So going back to the house in this scene here, there's obviously a 1 and a 3 here, which could give us a reference to 13 or 31. We've already looked at the New Year reference, but also I'm looking at tomorrow, Friday the 13th reference. So over here we've got the N, we've got the Y, we've got 1, and we've got 3. So in connection again with the boys' eyes, potentially, we've got New York and the 13th. Obviously the house is on fire. We know that they're having an impeachment debate, which is lasting from the 12th of December to the 13th of December. So that's going overnight. So that would potentially involve the House where the, congressmen and congresswomen are having their debate about impeachment. But we've also got the NY reference as I mentioned, which is the New York reference, and the House being shaped like a nuclear rocket. So the indication may be that there's some sort of nuclear event. Within the flame in the house, there's also the word main, which is taken from the M on this side, the A for the house, or you can do it either way. I'll do it this way. You've got M on this side, A for the house, you've got the I, you've got the N, obviously that's N and Y, New York, but also the Y is encased inside an M, and you've got the 3 over here, which could also be a backwards E. So you've also got the main reference. In the beginning of the video, we can see that when the star travels up the map, I've got it in slow motion, so please bear with me. Actually, I might speed it up. I don't really need it in slow motion anymore. So watch the point of the star travel from around here and straight up. So you saw that there. Hopefully my finger wasn't in the way. But you should see that the star kind of starts down here, but then when it jumps to the close-up of George Bush, the star point is around up here, around New York, and it then travels up the East Coast towards Maine. So having the NY and the main reference in there could actually give us a signal of whereabouts this could take place. Obviously, I've mentioned before, the flame is also shaped like a lobster claw, a red lobster claw to be more specific. Red Lobster's association with Maine, Red Lobster restaurants in New York. I've talked about all of that. So those are things that I'm kind of watching for there. But I thought it interesting that the NE, the last letters we can see in the boys' eyes, which follow on from war coverage, could relate to New York, and that could relate to the burning house here, where we do have a New York reference. Talked about many different places to keep on watch. Trump Tower, the church that survived the 9/11 attacks. There's obviously other buildings, Capitol Hill, the White House, One World Trade Center, various other locations. At the same time, there's also a reference to the UK in here as well. So I've already talked about Buckingham Palace and Tower of London and all those kind of things. Over here in the Shark's Mouth, we've got the 12, and we've got, as I've talked about before, the 7 that comes off the tail. Now the 7 could be a 7, but it could also be a V for 5. I say 5 because if we're looking at the East Coast between the 12th and the 13th, that would be 12 o'clock midnight. That would make the time in the UK 5 o'clock in the morning, which could be represented by the letter V, which is the Roman numeral for the number 5. Again, with another 5 reference, I'm just going to take you guys to the Tower and the Old Lady, where I've talked about the Tower before. It's not just, as they like to do in this video, a man lying on his back, or kind of a man and a woman, I'm not sure, but one half looks like they're lying on their front and the other half looks like it's upwards. Then you've got the tower in the middle, which is also an erect penis. They like to do that imagery for some reason, but when it gets closer, you should be able to see that the actual tower itself is a helmet, a medieval helmet, crusader type thing with the cross on the top, open visor this way, the head is facing this way, so you get a sideways view. This is like the chin guard down here, and it's in that chainmail type of effect. a very crusader type thing. So it gives me a connection to both Italy in terms of the church and the Vatican, and also the UK in terms of Britain itself. And then when you go inside the actual tower, you see tally marks of 5 all over the place. I've also talked about how the tally marks of 5 also translate into the word HIV, or HI5, again with the number 5 representing the V. So HIV there could be some sort of chemical, biological attack involved with terrorism. Again, this is all just interpretations that I'm taking from this video. But we go forward a little bit, and we can see that behind the old lady, again, there's another shark representation. And again, if we just go back to the classroom, that's kind of where I started with the shark interpretation. So it just all links up to later in the video, as well as having the 1 and 3 up the top here with the potential for an ICBM launch. Looking out for that from North Korea or other actors, but some sort of ICBM launch I'm looking out for could be an SLBM launch if it's linked to the shark, which represents a submarine. Obviously, missiles fired from a submarine are called SLBMs. So I think that is pretty much all I wanted to really say, just to give a bit more of an overview of what's going on, the potential for events taking place from midnight East Coast time, 5 a.m. UK time. So you guys stay aware, keep awake, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.